Hey, welcome. It's Jeff Heggie, Daily Success Strategies. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. And hopefully you get a lot out of these and you can go share these and help me spread this. Appreciate it if you do. So there's a few things I want to go through today. First of all, on Friday, we talked about going out this weekend and serving somebody with no expectation of anything in return. So if that's something you did, I'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment wherever you're listening to this, if it's a podcast platform or in our Facebook group, or if it's on YouTube, wherever it is, leave me a comment. If you're not part of it, this podcast can be heard on all the Spotify, Apple, Google, all those things. But we also have a Facebook group that I'd love you to join us. It's Jeff Heggie Daily Success Strategies. So find it on Facebook and join us. I'd love that. Now, a few things. It's Monday, and so one of the things we always talk about on Monday is, come Friday, what's it going to take so that you can look back on the week and say, I had a successful week? You know, what are the things that you need to accomplish this week that you can start planning out today so you can look back and know it was a successful week? As you do that, make sure you're blocking your time and making sure you're doing all the things necessary that you've got the ability to accomplish those things once you get them figured out. Now, the other thing I want to talk about, though, it's something I've been thinking a lot about, is we do this on a weekly basis. We're talking about what do you need to do this week so it's a success, and then on Friday we talk about, did you have a great week? What did you do? But, you know, we do this week by week, but at the end of the week, that's not the end of the story. Are you figuring things out for the week and then that's it, and then we'll figure out the next week again? I'm hoping that you have a lot bigger picture that you're working towards, and each week when you have a successful week, that's getting you one step closer to that bigger goal. Now, if you don't have that figured out, if you don't have your bigger goals figured out, your 1 year, your 3 year, your 5 year goals, what I want you to do, go to jeffhaggie.com and go to the Momentum series. You can find it right on the homepage. It's a free series that I've developed that's going to help you, one, understand momentum and all those things that go with that, and courage and motivation, those sort of things. But then it also goes into creating a clear path and getting clarity around the goals that you want to achieve and helping you identify the path that's going to get you there. And then the third video is probably the most important, because what it does is it takes each of those goals that you figure out in the first two videos and it helps you put a why behind it. Because once you know what your why behind each goal is, that's going to give you the motivation when things get tough, when you're tired, when you're down, whatever it is. Your why behind each of those goals is what's going to push you through, what's going to make you do the things that otherwise you might not have the motivation to do. So go to jeffhaggie.com, get that free Momentum series, and thank you to those that have gone through it and given me feedback. When you go through it, please let me know what you think about it. I'd appreciate that. Now, as you're doing that, that's the important thing. We need to have a bigger goal. We need to be working towards something on a regular basis. But when you're going through that Momentum series and you're figuring out what those goals are, don't put a lid on it. Don't limit your capabilities, because that's going to limit your outcome. You know, you look back, well, let's look at McDonald's. Obviously, it's an incredible franchise. You look back at 1954, when Ray Kroc first discovered McDonald's. The brothers, Dick and Maurice McDonald, were running a successful restaurant in Southern California. And they were living comfortably, but they didn't have any plans of doing anything bigger with it. And it wasn't because they couldn't, maybe with the skills they couldn't, but it was because they were comfortable and they had a lid on their leadership, on their thinking, on their capabilities, whatever it was, but they weren't going to be any bigger than they were. Now, when Ray Kroc comes in and partners with them and then later buys them out, he had a very different lid on what he was thinking, what he was capable of, and eventually what he did. And so it started out that they had this successful franchise or successful restaurant going. He ends up creating, in the next 4 years, he creates 100 new stores. And then I think it was between, I don't remember the years exactly, but I think by 1959 or something like that, he had 400 stores. And now today we look at it and they've got 35,000 stores throughout 120 countries or something like that. And it's amazing by him having a completely different lid on what his capabilities were, what his thinking was on what has happened with that franchise. Now, when you're going through the Momentum series, how are you going to remove that lid so that you can think bigger, so that you can have a bigger future and accomplish more than if you limit yourself and have a lower lid? So I want you to think about that as you're going through there and identify the ways that you're going to take that lid off so that you can think bigger. Now, again, I've got a lot of things on this that I want to talk about this week. We'll talk about them more in the different episodes that we go throughout the week. But first thing I want you to do is make sure that you're working towards something this week. That on Friday, it can be a successful week, but that's not the end goal. That's the step towards the big goal. So make sure we've always got that big goal in mind. So hopefully that's helpful. That can get your week off on the right foot. Thanks for being with me, and we will be back tomorrow morning. See ya.